Okay, back again with another one. And if you recognize the clothes and the guitar that I'm holding in the exact same position because I haven't moved the chair, yes, it's the same day, and I will fuck up this tutorial just as well as I did the last one. But who cares, right? So, this one is played in, E flat tuning, like D sharp, whatever. However, I will, you know, keep the positions for you, and this means that since I'm tuned in E standard and I'm not dropped down by half a step, if you want to play along with the original, either if you have your guitar tuned in E standard like I do, uh, drop every position by 1 fret, or if you have the guitar tuned in the correct tuning, which is E flat like Steel Panther did, keep the positions, right? So the warning to y'all out there. So yeah, let's just start it. So we begin with a bend on the 12th fret. And you'll have to excuse my buzz, but I need to adjust this fret once I'm done changing the strings. I need to file it down a bit. Anyway, there, pinch harmonic, masks it just a bit. So you come down from that bend. Yeah, so I had to remember the whole thing. Again, dangers of hitting that record button when you haven't even practiced the whole thing in months. So it's almost like a pedal point lick, but not quite exactly. You have just try to play this in a loop until you finally get your fingers around it. Right? Either all down picks or alternate. My preferred way is alternate. So once again, really slow. Feel free to rewind and watch this as many times as you need. But this is, the final loop that I do for this part. Right? You're ending here, and then okay, pretty self-explanatory, I think, I hope. And again, you're landing here, and you have now, you might be wondering why is it that I'm not just, and I'm actually jumping with this finger right here instead of just keeping it here and coming down with the other one. The reason for, the whole reason is very simple. You'll see it in the very next part, but I just want to go through the whole first sequence back to back. So the reason why I make this jump right here is because it sets me up for the very next passage, where I just want to slide in with my index finger and continue with basically. So after I actually begin this ascend, you know, this ascending pattern with a bit of a different timing pattern, but this is the actual pattern. And I'm doing this by sliding in my note, my first note. So, I'll try to explain this very shortly, but in order to get the correct groove for the timing on this final, on this, not final, but current lick, please feel free to go listen to the original. Alright, so there's no substitute for doing that. So, you'll want to slide in and kind of have like a moderate, slower type of pace, but as you ascend, you want to gradually speed it up in a way that, it's not actually linearly. You're not just gradually doing this from 0 to 100, but actually you're kind of playing the first two lines. So these, 6 notes on these two strings, you're kind of playing them at a relatively low speed, and then the other ones are a bit more accelerated. And that's exactly what I'm doing as I'm beginning. I'm playing them with like slow speed, a bit of a palm mute, and all of them are picked alternate, while the other ones are faster and I'm just playing them legato. So once again, and actually, yeah, after you do this and you land on this note right here on the 16th fret of the E string, high E string, you go here and you do one bend. You kind of repeat it again, and as you descend, you start pulling off. And you end right here. Right, so you end there, and now comes the tricky part, which you've probably been, waiting for. And if you saw the title, you might have seen that it contains how not to play it. Why? Well, it's simple. Because although what I showed you till now, thus far, it's pretty accurate, kind of note for note, with few nuances that you have to incorporate from the original. The very next part, which is the tapping part, I will show you how to kind of fake it just the way I did when I first learned the solo. I will make a proper tutorial later for the whole song. Well, I'll teach you the whole solo exactly along with the song. But for now, I'll show you how to fake it as I did in my old cover, which sounds at that speed, obviously doesn't sound like the original if you play them back to back, but when you just listen to it isolated, it sounds really good in terms of note choices. So I'll show you that, how to fake it, and then I'll show you also like a minor bonus that you can introduce to actually begin making it sound closer to the original, which I didn't do at that time in my cover. So it's kind of like the correct introduction to the correct way of playing it, but still you're far from it. So you've ended up here, and now you have the following pattern. You're hammering back on the same pattern, and now you have without this, sorry. So I'm effectively not using these two fingers right here. I'm just using these. It's almost like having the tab like this. But I'm keeping it in place because it's easier for me coming from that shape and also according to what comes next. Right? Just try to practice this. Then you take exactly the same shape, you move it down one string. You take the exact same shape and you move it down one string, but you're closing in on these two fingers for a reason you'll see immediately. You'll still not be using these, but you're taking this shape, you're doing what I just told you, and you have, yeah, it's just once. Yeah, and then why I told you to already tuck your fingers in is because of the next passage where you'll start finally using these fingers as well. So it's going to be a longer tapped part using all 4 fingers. See what I did right there? It's no longer, it's, so you do this twice. Once, twice, and then you end on, or yeah, you just finalize the whole thing with, so you have right? While practicing, you can even switch on your neck pickup, not to have this screechy sound, because at slow speeds it sounds like shit and everything starts ringing. So then you go down here and you have once, then you have once, twice. So once again from the very beginning, very slow speed. Okay, and now the bonus I was telling you about, just the very small thing you can do to make the beginning sound a bit more like in the original. So remember you had this slide in, and then you began with this. Right, so actually, instead of going after this one into this, you can actually make a faster one starting on the string below, on the B string. and then start the tapping part. Or you can do something even extra, which is actually easier, should be easier because it fits the timing better. Either consider what I told you right now, that you start from the B string, but you don't do the upper part. So instead of, you just do, and then begin the tapping part from here. Or you can just make it simpler for you and consider the first version, which goes. But instead of doing this, you just go on the string below, and then once the tapping starts from the high frets, you already have your hand position here on the E string. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to continue any more blabbering on something that it's not the actual version. As I said, in the near future I will do a proper tutorial for, you know, the whole song, the whole cover, and in that one I'll explain exactly how to play the, you know, actual version that you're hearing in the original. So until then, kids, bye.